Hey everyone, so in this video I'm going to be talking about my week 18 and week 19 of this triplet pregnancy and update you about what's been going on, as well as tell you guys about our anatomy scan because we had our anatomy scan. So stay tuned to hear all about that. Okay guys, so first off, I just want to thank you all so much for all your engagement and your comments in our gender reveal video. It was really fun to see you guys respond. Thank you so much for doing that and for just scrolling, for me to be able to scroll through and just see what people were guessing, and it was just really fun. So I just really appreciate it and hope you guys enjoyed that. And yes, we are, if you have not seen that video, go watch that video. But if you have, you know our triplets that I'm pregnant with are 3 boys. So 2 are identical and 1 is fraternal, and they are all boys. So we are very excited. We were a little bit disappointed, I guess, initially, because we were hoping to have both genders. We just thought that would be really fun, since this is probably going to be the only pregnancy I have. And I mean, who knows, but probably. But now that time has kind of gone on, and just knowing that these are all boys inside of me, my heart is really warmed towards them, and I am so excited to have them. And it was just really fun. And if you I probably can't really catch this, but some of the family reactions and stuff, there are several cousins that I have that are boy moms. They actually both have 4 boys. So no twins or triplets, but anyway, it was just kind of cool to, kind of connect with them in that way of being a boy mom. So we are very excited, definitely. But just wanted to update you guys a little bit on that, just kind of the emotional part of it. I think it's totally normal, and there is no shame in feeling kind of disappointed when you find out your gender. And it doesn't mean that you love your babies any less or anything like that, but it just means that something you were expecting to happen didn't happen. And when things like that happen in our lives, it's a legitimate reason to feel disappointed and even maybe grieve if it's something, pretty significant. And so there's no shame in that. So I definitely want to communicate that, and want to communicate that, yeah, we did feel that, of just not having a girl, and, kind of picturing that we would have a girl. So yeah, just wanted to speak into that and let you guys know where I am with that. And there is kind of that thing in the back of my head sometimes that think, yeah, I'm not gonna have a girl, and that kind of loss from that. But then at the same time, I am very, very excited for these boys and just the friendships they will have, and together, and just the connection they will have, and all of that. And we're very excited. So. All right, well, let me talk to you some about symptoms for these past 2 weeks. I will say overall, I haven't really had any significant new symptoms, and I feel like I've been feeling good, like energy-wise. I feel like my energy hasn't been too bad overall this pregnancy, but I do feel like I definitely, don't feel really lethargic or really drained or anything like that, thankfully. And yeah, so that's been good. And I have been having some heartburn still, like I kind of talked about that last time, but it's a little bit more now. It's still not like an everyday thing. And it also usually correlates with me, like if I eat too much, or even like last night I actually had it, and I didn't even eat. Like if I eat later in the night, I feel like I tend to struggle with it, but I didn't really eat later in the night last night, but I felt like it was there, and it was kind of like still staying there. It wasn't really strong, but it wasn't, I feel like in the past it'll kind of have like a wave, and then it'll like just go away and it won't come back. But this was kind of like, oh, it's still there, I'm still feeling it. And so I actually slept with the wedge pillow last night, and you know, and also I still am struggling with congestion, so I kind of needed it for that. It is getting a little bit better than it was, but it's still just lingering on. And I use the nose strips every night. So I just use the CVS brand kind because they're pretty expensive, but they have been helpful, definitely. And I've used those many times in the past too, when I have allergies and stuff like that. And so but I feel like in this pregnancy, I've been using them every night. So, but that's been helpful, definitely. And essential oils, I will use that as well. I haven't used any like decongestion or allergy medicine or anything like that, just those nose strips and essential oils. And the next thing that's kind of new, this is a new thing that I feel like came about these past 2 weeks, is like pubic bone pain. And I think it's just the weight of the babies kind of pressing on the pubic bone. So that's been kind of different. It's not like really, really painful or anything, but it's like tender and kind of sore, and I just can feel it more and be like, oh yeah, I feel that pressure there and some discomfort. And I do still have the round ligament pain, and it's not like constant, it's just every once in a while, like especially if I've been sitting for a while and I stand up, I'll notice it. I'm like, oh yes, you know, ouch, kind of, you know. And it's still not like really bad. I know some people can have it really, really bad. So, you know, right now it's not that bad for me, but it's definitely noticeable, and it's definitely kind of like a little sharp pain, like, but then it goes away pretty quickly, you know, typically from sitting to standing. But another thing that you will all notice, because I will show you my belly at the end of this video, so make sure to stay tuned to see that, because my belly is growing really fast, I feel like. And there was a lady at church, I think I hadn't seen her for 2 weeks, and she was just like, wow, your bump is like, you know, it's there now. Like, it's not just this little like, yeah, I think I see a bump, but it's like, no, there's no question. There is a bump. You definitely look pregnant now, and no questions about it. So anyway, so I feel like that is, and I talked about this some in my other video, that sometimes it kind of fear can creep in sometimes of just like, this is, you know, the belly right now, but it has so much more to grow. And like, you know, just sometimes the fear of what that could bring with, you know, just the discomfort and just, you know, wanting to keep the babies in there as long as possible too. But at the same time, I do still feel that excitement just to see myself looking pregnant for the first time in so long, you know, I mean, in my life, but just, you know, us trying for so long and being like, I'm pregnant, I look pregnant. So that's been really cool. And I've also been, you know, kind of just thinking about, you know, cherishing these moments instead of thinking so much about the what ifs and the things that are to come that I'm sure are not going to be, you know, super comfortable and, you know, that enjoyable, but it's still just this whole process of this miracle that's happening. Every pregnancy is a miracle of just of these humans, you know, growing inside of a woman's body, and it's just amazing. And that there's 3 of them inside of me growing is just amazing. And so just also really cherishing these moments. So there's definitely been that as well, and learning to do that. I think that's something that I know I struggle with, and I'm not sure, I'm guessing a lot of people struggle with, of just that heart of gratitude. And just, you know, it's easier, our default is more to complain and see the negative, but it kind of takes a discipline and intentionality to be like grateful and thankful. And I think thankfully, I feel like God has been kind of talking to me, teaching me about that. And, you know, just with my husband too, talking to him, Casey, about it, and just like, yeah, this is, you know, not that you don't have hard times. Hard times are together with good times, but that we also acknowledge those good times and those precious moments. So, sorry, I just kind of went off on a tangent there, but just wanted to say that's kind of a process I've been going through. So yeah, that's pretty much it for symptoms that I can remember and that I can think of that have stood out for me for these past 2 weeks. So I'm going to move on and talk about our anatomy scan. So first off, this, I don't know if you can tell how thick this is. This is just the pictures from today. Yeah, it's a lot. So there was a lot of, you know, it was a long ultrasound for sure. I was expecting that because I know even with one baby, it's a long ultrasound. But then you times that by 3 and it's 3 times as long. So, but I do want to say that the babies are looking wonderful. So everything that they checked, every measurement they did, their brains, their heart, their face, their arms, their legs, their fingers, their toes, you know, just their nose, their upper lip, you know, checking for, you know, cleft lip issues or anything like that. Everything looks just great and really good. Like there's nothing that she said is, you know, everything looks just like it needs to look. And they're very pleased with how everything's looking. So I was very relieved to hear that and just thankful, so thankful that, you know, these babies, at least, you know, right now, I know things can happen, but again, right now I'm choosing just to rejoice in this moment and be like, thank you so much that these babies are looking how they need to look, growing, developing how they need to develop. So this was actually a cutoff. I'm not gonna probably show you guys all the pictures because there's just so many, but this is baby A, sorry, the light, but that's the face on view, and then the hands, one hand on that side of the face. It looks like maybe the other hand's on the other side of the face, but just so cute. And this picture was actually taken through our intravaginal ultrasound, because they do that for me every time I go in to check to see the length of my cervix. It's still looking great. It's shrunk from that 5 centimeters. It's like 3.8 or something now. But they said as long as it's above 2.5, we're good to go. So we're really thankful that, and it makes sense that as the babies grow and develop and the weight just kind of makes it shrink down some, not be as long. But it still looks great. And then this is just an endless, like, yeah, it's just a lot of pictures, but they all look, yeah, like she said, just like they need to look. And actually, I'm sorry, I kind of jumped topics here, but I was saying that baby A, that picture that I just showed you, there's a hand, look at that. And some leg, maybe, feet, there we go, feet. Yeah, anyway, so cool. Yeah, so basically she couldn't get to baby A's head because baby A's head is really far down. So she was not really able to get a good picture during the ultrasound. And she was like, well, you know, when we do your cervical check, we'll just see if maybe we can see a little bit clearer. And when she did, it was very clear. So she was able to get all the measurements for all the babies, because that was the one thing she was missing with baby A, was the brain measurements and the head measurements. So she was able to get that through the cervical ultrasound. So that was great. But yeah, that's how things have been going, and we're so thankful that these baby boys look great. And yeah, we're just excited for what's to come. I know I also want to address, there was actually my cousin's wife commented and was asking some questions about like weight gain and all that stuff, because that is, you know, is there like a target weight that they want you to gain? Is there extra calories they're telling you to intake? And honestly, I haven't asked them, and they haven't like specifically told me. I know my doctor at the beginning when I first went in, he told me that, you know, sometimes multiples, it can be harder when the person is like smaller, skinnier. You know, it's kind of good if you actually had extra weight on you when you're carrying multiples. And so he just encouraged me just to eat. But he didn't tell me like specifically, like, you know, you need to increase your calorie intake by this much or whatever. He just said, just eat, you know, and I've pretty much been doing that. Like I haven't been, again, like I said, I can't eat a lot at one time, but I've been having smaller meals more frequently throughout the day, and that's been going well, and not shying away from like snacking or, you know, anything, and not really letting myself get really hungry. And I almost feel like hunger feels different in pregnancy. I don't know, for me at least, I feel like sometimes it almost feels like my stomach's getting a little bit unsettled versus like, oh, I'm hungry. I mean, there are some times that I'm like, okay, yeah, that is hunger pains or whatever, but it's almost like I feel a little bit unsettled, and then I eat and I'm like, oh, okay, that's better. That's something I've kind of noticed in pregnancy. And I actually have a book here that I got. So it's When You're Expecting Twins, Triplets, or Quads. And there's a lot of stuff in this book, you know, talking about what, you know, supplements to take, what to expect, just things that happen to your body when you're pregnant with multiples, you know, even like recipes and stuff like that in there. Now, I don't agree fully with all the stuff it talks about in here. Like an example is like it says to have like low-fat dairy, low-fat yogurt. I don't think I think you need to have the food like it's originally meant to have with all the fat in it. And that, you know, if it's from a healthy source and all that stuff, the fat is really good for you. So there's some stuff I don't fully agree with, you know, the food situation, but there is still some really help. And there's some still good suggestions for food in there, definitely. But it does say in here that like weight gain guidelines, and it says your total weight gain goal is, if you're expecting triplets, is 58 to 75 pounds. So, and from what I have heard from other people that are pregnant with one baby, that's a lot. And not saying, I mean, some people like with a single baby gain almost that much too, but you know, I don't think it's very typical. So yeah, so it'll be a big change in my body. That's adding a lot of weight to my body. So, and I will say right now, I actually don't know currently how much weight I've gained since the beginning, but because I haven't, it's been 2 weeks since they weighed me. So they didn't weigh me today when I went in for the anatomy scan. I didn't see the nurse practitioner, but I'll see her on the 20th of this month. And so she'll do all that stuff. But they did measure, like weigh me and all that stuff 2 weeks ago. And I've gained about 10 pounds since the beginning of, you know, when they first started weighing me when I was early on. So yeah, just to let you know that. But yeah, so now is the time I'm going to show you my belly. So you'll see for yourself if you think my belly's grown a lot since the last time you saw it, which was about 2 weeks ago. So here it is. Okay. So it's definitely, I'm gonna show you under the clothes here. So yeah, I feel like it's definitely sticking out more. And my belly button, like, it feels so weird because it's like so shallow, like it's like flat almost. I've been noticing how weird the belly button feels. And I'm getting kind of that little dark line. It's really subtle. But yeah, that's the belly. All right, guys, I will see you in the next video. Comment down below too of just, you know, where you are if you're pregnant. I know some of you talked about that you're even pregnant with triplets. So where you are in your pregnancy, how things are going. Would love to hear about that. And also those of you who are still out there trying. You are not alone, you are not forgotten. And it's a pain I think we all carry, you know, even if we do get that success of a baby, you know, when we struggle with infertility and have to go through treatments like IVF to get pregnant, which is really hard. So my heart is with you all who are still struggling with that. And yeah, so, okay guys, well, I will see you in the next video.